So I booked 92 sales calls for my high ticket offer in a single week, as you can see on the screen right here. So from 11th of May until the 18th of May, we booked 92 sales calls, as you can see right here in Calendly. And this is not a screenshot. This is like our little Calendly page with the metrics. And as you can see, like obviously we rescheduled some calls we had to cancel and we had to reschedule again. But the point is, we booked the 92 calls. So in this video, I'm going to show you two things. So number one, I'm going to show you the actual message itself, so you actually see what message actually books 92 calls every single week. And by the way, this is consistently, it's not just like a good week. And then number two, I'm going to show you how you can replicate this for your business so you can get the same results. So let's get into it. I'm not going to tease you with anything else. I'm just going to show you the message first so you actually get to see it. So you can pause the video, right? And you can just read the whole message. You can screenshot it, right? You can pretty much copy and paste it if you want to. But once again, if you're going to copy paste this, you're not necessarily going to get the same results that I get. So this is why I'm going to show you how you can replicate this for your business. So once again, you can pause the video, you can take a screenshot, you can do whatever you want, but this is the actual message itself. Now let's get started, and I'm going to explain you one thing that you probably have not heard before on YouTube, or at least you have not heard it before said this way. So why is it that our campaigns are so successful, right? And just to give you a little bit more context, it's not just that I am successful with my own campaigns, right, where I book like 92 calls in a week, but we also actively right now work with 120 active high ticket coaching and consulting clients, right? And they all crush it and they all get great results. So why is it that the campaigns that we create are so successful? Well, I'm gonna start by, reminding you probably of something that you've already heard before. You've probably heard of the saying like, oh, throwing spaghetti at a wall to see what sticks, right? And marketing is kind of like that to a certain extent. Like you do have to throw spaghetti at a wall to see what sticks, but really, really good and really successful marketing campaigns, right, as a way to get clients. Well, in those marketing campaigns, you basically know exactly what spaghetti to throw at a wall, so you know exactly what's going to stick. So how do we actually do that? Well, everything actually comes from research, okay? And now I'm going to explain what research is. I'm going to explain why is it so important. But research is the one thing that if you get right, you're pretty much almost like guaranteed that you're actually going to succeed. You're going to have a successful campaign. You're going to sign clients. You're going to book a lot of calls, right? So one of the greatest copywriters of all time, Gary Benzavenga, had a saying that he or she who has the best research wins. Okay. Now, what actually is research? So, research basically means that you need to know exactly how your ideal clients, so basically the market that you want to target, you need to know exactly like how they are speaking, how are they describing their problems, how are they describing their goals, right? What are the words that they use? What are the terms? What are their objections? How are they thinking? So, if you want to be really successful, basically, when you are promoting your offer to a specific audience, you need to know that audience pretty much better than they know it themselves, right? You need to essentially be inside their brain. So how do you do that, right? Well, the traditional way of doing research is just by talking to people, right? So like, for example, you can reach out to like a lot of people. So you can try to get basically 30 interviews. And on those interviews, you would basically ask people a lot of questions like, hey, what is your biggest problem? What is your biggest goal, right? What have you tried in the past? What worked? What didn't work? And all of those things, right? So the traditional way of doing research was just by talking to people, by having Zoom interviews, and obviously that takes a lot of time. But because we live in the AI era, you can use AI to actually create the research. So I'm going to show you how we do it. So we use Claude, right? Claude is the best tool for, building like research documents and all of those things. So we use Claude for this, but we build what we call a copy bank document. So what is a copy bank document? A copy bank document is basically like a huge document, which, this one is a bit shorter, it's like 19 pages, but usually the copy bank document is going to have like about 30 to 40 pages. And what are you going to find in that document is just like a bunch of research in actual like customer language, right? So it's not like about like summaries, like AI summaries or stuff like that, but you're actually going to find like customer language, right? So just to show you around a little bit, this is a huge document where you are just going to find exact words like what are clients in your market saying. So how do you create this document, which by the way is just going to take like 10 minutes. You just have to prompt it once and then you're going to have this document. by using Claude. But how we do it is we just use like a very, very simple prompt. So we would say to Claude something like, hey, I'm a coach for XYZ market. And you would like say like what your actually market is. And you would say like, hey, I want to create a high ticket offer based on exactly what people want. And I want to be successful in this market. So I want to build a lot of research. I want to build like a copy bank document that includes customer language, right? That's basically the voice of customer. Like I want to understand basically what are their problems, what are the goals, what are their objections, what are they skeptical about, what have they tried in the past that didn't work. So you can basically describe a lot of things from here. And you can also tell to AI like, hey, I want you to give me guidance based on like what are the commonalities, based on like what this market actually is looking for, and also help me create a hyper specific offer for this market, considering that I want to sell a high ticket offer, right? So it needs to be something really strong. So you can use like a very simple basic prompt. And by the way, Claude can actually help me create a prompt itself as well. So, just in case you're pretty lazy, which I don't blame you with all this AI, you can just get AI to create pretty much everything for you. And then, so get Claude, explain to Claude what you're looking to do. Claude is going to create the whole prompt for you. And then you just have to paste the prompt into Claude, and tell it to do in-depth research on forums, Reddit forums, Facebook groups, right, communities, and everything that it can find on the internet. What Claude can do is Claude can basically scrape the whole internet and put together a copy bank document like this one. So I know it sounds like I'm like trying to do advertising for Claude, but it really is that good. So you do all of that, which is not going to take a lot. Like again, it just can take you like literally like 5 minutes, right, to prompt Claude so that Claude is going to build a document like this for you that, as you can see, it is really, really comprehensive. But how do you actually use this document, right? And why is this document so important? And once again, it goes back to the saying, like, I know exactly what spaghetti to throw at the wall, so I know exactly what's going to stick, right, in my marketing campaigns. So I'm never making assumptions, right? Whenever I'm creating a campaign for myself or for one of my clients, I am never making assumptions, right? Like, for example, if you want to help like busy executives to, like land the next role in their career, like, just make more money maybe, or whatever the case is, right? Let's say that you help executives in your market. I am never going to make assumptions about what executives actually want. Even if I personally know that market, even if I've personally been an executive, even if I've been working with that market for 10 plus year, and I'm going to be like, well, I know exactly what they want, there's no point in me doing the research. That is false. You still have to do the research because there's something that's called a curse of knowledge. And like slowly over time, you can drift away. You can start to think more like yourself, right? Obviously, because yourself more than your clients. So this is why here's how we use the copy bank document. Before we create offers, before we write any word for a message, before we write any word of a VSL, before we write any email, any DM template, any follow-up messages, basically before we do anything, right, for myself, but as well as for our clients, we first of all create this copy bank document, right? So once again, I don't do anything based on assumptions. So everything that I'm going to create, like the VSL, the initial message, the email, and everything else that I'm going to create is going to come from the copy bank document, right? Which is this thing right here. Why? Because if you're making assumptions, it's not going to land. It's just not going to work with your clients. And once again, you need to know your clients better than they know themselves, right? You need to essentially be in their brain. And this is how you can actually get in their brain, by having this research and by having the copy bank document right here. So once again, as I said, like we first of all create a copy bank document on only after we have the full copy bank document, right? Which has to be like about 20, 30, 40 pages. So it has to be pretty comprehensive, right? As you can see, you need a lot of customer language. But once you have the document, you can start actually writing your scripts. And again, this is universal. Like you can use it to build whatever is it that you want. Webinars, VSLs, right? Emails, posts, YouTube videos. You can do whatever you want with this document. You're essentially going to keep it forever in your business. But once again, this is very useful because when you write the email, right, this is what actually makes it work. What I'm going to say in that email is going to come directly from my client's brain, basically, right? From their mouth. So again, I'm not making assumptions. So for example, right, just to talk about this line right here, because this is where I'm basically talking about the offer. So little known process, right, which is basically implies new, that attracts more of your ideal clients, right? Why did I say this? Well, I said this because, for example, in my case, coaches and consultants, well, they want to get more clients. This is what they're thinking about every single day. This is what's actually going to be top of mind for them. So this is why I'm saying, hey, this is actually going to help you attract more clients, right? People who are ready to invest and want, and this is where we have like another personalized line basically right here, but want help with X, where X is it's a little bit of personalization. It's like what that specific lead that I'm reaching out to actually does. So if I'm going to be reaching out to like a fitness coach, is going to say invest and want to lose weight, for example, right? But besides the point, every single word that I'm writing in the email, and again, this is going to apply to the VSL, this is going to apply to everything else, but every single word is specifically reversed engineered, and it specifically comes from the CopyBank document. So whatever word that I'm writing right here, I'm never writing the word based on my assumptions or based on what I think it's actually going to land. No, I'm always starting from the CopyBank document. So if you are just going to take one thing from this video, build a comprehensive CopyBank document, right, with literally like words and phrases that your customers are using, right, and also tell Claude to give you a little bit of guidance on the offer, like what are the common points, right, what are the biggest problems for them, what is the main thing that you can focus on, right? But if you, once again, like if you just take one thing from this video, like build a CopyBank document, because this is pure gold. Like this is how you know that your campaigns are going to land. Again, you're not making assumptions. You know for a fact that the campaigns are actually going to land. It's the CopyBank document. So then, right, every single word of the email that I'm writing comes from the CopyBank document right here. So this is the one thing, right? This is the most important one, right? But if you do this, like I just guarantee you that everything that you're going to do is going to land, and you're not going to hear crickets anymore, or it's not just going to fall on deaf ears, right? So this is the actual secret sauce behind having successful marketing campaigns. Now, let me show you how you can actually duplicate the exact same results that I got in my business. Once again, 92 qualified calls in a single week, right? Now, obviously, you can get less if you want to get less. You can get more if you want to do more. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to show you how to replicate success when it comes to booking qualified calls on your calendar so you can get more clients. So what I like to do is I don't really like to use templates, right, when I'm writing copy. But what I like to use is what I like to call the copy code, right? So it's kind of like the reason why it actually works, right? So it's something that's a little bit deeper than a template, because a template maybe works, maybe it doesn't. But if you're following the principles, like why does it actually work, like what's behind it actually working, then I know exactly what is, I know exactly how to replicate it. So this is how you replicate it, right? So once again, this is specifically an email, but you can use it for your DMs, like cold DMing people, right? You can use it for really whatever you want. So let me show you right here real quick, right? So the first line is going to be the context line. And the purpose of the context line is just to tell the prospect, how did you find them, right? Or why are you reaching out to them? And something optional that you can do is humor, which humor is an absolute secret weapon in cold outreach. I'm not even going to talk about like humor in this video and why is it so important, because I can basically make like a separate video about humor. But humor is a secret weapon that you can use in your videos. So once again, the first line, the first thing that they're going to see is how did I find them and why am I reaching out to them? So going to this example, I was searching for people to send on request email to, and you came up. Congrats, you're the chosen one. So as you can see, like I'm using a lot of humor in my emails, and this is why they're absolutely crushing it. You can use humor if you want to, right? It's going to work even better if you use humor in your cold outreach, right? Regardless of what it is. But I'm giving people context of like how they actually find them, right? So a little bit of context. The next line is going to be the personalized line, right? So people want to know basically that you've put in the effort to do research, right, on them a little bit. And obviously they want everything to be personalized to them specifically. People want to feel special, and they want to feel like you've taken the time to look at their profile, LinkedIn, whatever the case is, and you've taken the time to write something about them, right? Because obviously we're selfish, like as human beings, that's the reality. So people love to talk about themselves. So if you're going to talk about them, they're going to love you, right? Or not necessarily love you, but they're going to, be much more likely to reply positively. Even if you've done the research with AI, so obviously we don't write the personalized lines ourselves. We write it using Claude and like Clay. But besides the point, like you need to have something that is personalized, right? Otherwise, it's just not really going to work. So you need to have something that's personalized. And as you can see, even in the personalized line itself, I'm going to say something like, I found you on LinkedIn, right? So this is the personalized first line. The next part right here is going to be what I like to call the shiny object. So the shiny object is literally like a one sentence, right? Or like two sentences max, where you're basically talking about their biggest problem or their biggest goal, right? So like, for example, in my case, I'm talking about getting more clients because I know that for coaching consultants, their biggest problem, or at the very least, the biggest problem that I solve with my offer is getting clients. So I'm only going to talk about getting clients, right? Even if I can solve like 10 different problems, I'm only going to talk about one problem. And that problem is, right, like helping them get more clients. So the shiny object, once again, one phrase or maximum two phrases where you're talking about like how you have like a new way of solving their problem, right? You're not going to say like word for word solve the problem or help them achieve their goal. So again, you can you can basically use both sides, like either solve the problem or help them achieve their goal. So what the shiny object is basically this right here. So a little known process, right? It implies new that attracts more of your ideal clients because I know that coaches and consultants want more clients. So this is not an assumption that I've made. This comes directly from the copy bank. This comes directly from the research. And this is why it actually crushes it, right? People who are ready to invest, right? Like once again, why did I say people who are ready to invest? I said it because it comes directly from the copy bank. This is what people want. It is not an assumption. It is not something that I wanted to say. It's something that people actually want to hear, right? So this is why I said it. And then this is the shiny object phrase, right? Where you're just dangling the carrot. You're just talking about the most important thing to them, right? Relative to the problem that you're solving for them. And then the last part of the message slash email is selling the next step, right? So you're basically going to have the call to action. And optional, if you want, you can also inject a little bit more humor and a little bit of your personality, right? So as you can see right here, this is the call to action and the next steps for them basically. So I said something like, I created a quick video breaking it down. So I'm talking about the process that can help them attract more of their ideal clients. So I created a quick video that can break it down. If you want to have a look, drop a reply. So it's basically like, hey, if you want to see a video that explains exactly how this works, drop me a reply and I can send over the video so you can have a look. And as I said, here I injected a little bit of humor and also kind of gave them a way out like, hey, if you don't want it, that's totally cool. You can just tell me and I'm, whatever. I'm going to be pretty sad maybe, but whatever the case is, right? So this is how you actually do it, right? This is the whole email. And once again, the two things that actually make it hyper successful and the two things that can also make you hyper successful in your business is number one, having a copy bank document. So having the proper research, right? Like a proper document like this. Once again, it is not enough. Like even if you've been in your market for 10 plus years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever the case is, and you know exactly your clients, how they think, you've taken thousands of calls. Whenever you write something, it has to come from a copy bank document because we can make mistakes as humans, right? So maybe you forget something or maybe use a term that they don't necessarily use, right? And you just forgot about it. You're slowly drifting away from the language that they use. This is why this is literally like your North Star for your marketing language and for your copywriting. So number one, having a copy bank document that you can easily create with Claude. And number two, you can follow this framework, right? Which is once again, it's like a framework, is a copy code that you can pretty much follow and use in whatever is it you want to do, like cold DMs, cold emails, right? Cold SMS, whatever is it that you want to do. So that's pretty much it for this video. Look, if you're a coach, consultant, or agency owner and you want to get more clients and you don't have to deal with all of this yourself, like you just want to help so you can just spend your time working with your clients and have, instead of like having to figure out like what are the right words to say so you can actually track them, then I have a pretty cool offer. You're going to find a link in the description down below. Have a look, click on that if you want to, and then we can talk and I can explain how my offer works. It's a pretty cool offer, so I think you're going to like it, but that's about it. Smash the like button, subscribe, and I'm going to see you in the next video.